So, Indiana Jones first found the Ark of the Covenant, then some magic stones, and then the Holy Grail. So, what mystical artifact is he going to find in the fourth movie?
Aliens.
What? Welcome back to the Out of Touch podcast. I'm Chris, that's Bill, and today we are watching Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, the fourth Indiana Jones movie. So, Bill, what did you think of Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull?
A lot of people hate this movie.
Yeah, it's probably like the most I guess, I don't know. People have opinions about it, for sure. It was made a lot later than the other ones. It was like 20 years later.
Almost.
When did this movie come out? Like 2008. Okay.
Yeah.
I was like 2009, 2010, but
2008.
Yeah.
Crazy year. That's the year of The Dark Knight, the start of the Marvel Cinematic Universe,
Wow.
and the brief return of Indiana Jones.
Yeah. So, yeah, this movie was made years later, and it brought Indiana Jones back as an old man.
Before he came back as a really old man.
Yeah, he's going to be really old in the next one. But,
I think he's supposed to be like 65 here,
okay.
roughly.
Yeah, I guess that tracks. I don't know how old Harrison Ford is now. I think he's like 80-something.
He's 80 now.
Wow, okay.
Like he turned 80 after they made the new one.
Okay. Damn, man. Well.
Yeah.
Anyway, so this movie is a sequel to what many would deem like a pretty complete trilogy. And
I mean, the movie before this was called The Last Crusade.
Yeah.
Which made it seem like this is it. This is the end. And, we did a video on The Last Crusade, and I mentioned they rode off into the sunset, which is the perfect ending for an adventure series.
Yeah. So I guess I'll say I don't hate this movie. I do see a lot of the problems people have with it, though. Like, I personally think, yeah, maybe they do a little too much, like, digital backgrounds. It's kind of, like, drenched in special effects.
In places.
Yeah.
In other places, it's not.
Yeah. Like, I think, like, there's, like, that, classic Steven Spielberg escalation in the movie with stuff, but, like, we'll get into, like, some of, like, the escalation with the special effects and how they actually, like, feel. But I guess, like, the basic synopsis is Indiana Jones is more or less up to his old tricks as usual, except now we have the background information of World War II happened. He was pretty involved in World War II as a soldier, doing like special missions for the United States and I guess the CIA. And now instead of fighting Nazis, they are fighting Russians.
Yeah, because he also did a lot of Cold War stuff prior to the events of this movie, apparently.
Yeah. So this movie takes place in the 50s. I don't know exactly what year it's supposed to be.
They say 1957 right at the top.
Okay, 57.
Yes.
Okay, great. Yeah, so where do you want to start?
Well, I mean, we could rip the Band-Aid. Let's just start at the opening scene.
Okay.
So at the beginning of the movie, Indiana Jones and this other guy have already been captured by the communists, and they break into Area 51.
Of course.
Which is the big warehouse from the end of the original movie with all the stuff in it. We even get a little brief shot of the Ark of the Covenant in its crate because they're there because there's an alien body that crash landed in 1947 at Roswell, New Mexico.
Yeah.
And Indiana Jones is part of the recovery, apparently. Yeah. I'm not sure why you bring an archaeologist, but whatever. I'm not a Black Ops government operation. I don't know.
I mean, aliens are adjacent to mummies, I guess.
I mean, I guess they know about the Ark of the Covenant situation. Indiana Jones was part of that.
Yeah.
So they brought him in because it's like, well, look, this guy's dealt with weird shit before. We'll bring him in. Maybe there's nothing magic about this. Maybe there's not. I don't know. Get him in there anyway.
Yeah.
I will say this. I mean, I will say that I don't have a problem with the whole alien aspect of it to a degree because I always had like a fascination with the ancient alien stuff before they took it too far and made like a weird ongoing series about it, but like the weird stuff, like, oh, why'd they make these giant carvings in the ground that you'd have to fly to see? Why did those people make their heads look like weird shapes and stuff?
Yeah.
And, you know, it's just kind of fascinating to be like, oh, would it be kind of crazy if that was aliens? And having an Indiana Jones movie kind of run with that was kind of interesting to me at the time.
I think, like, the concept is okay, but I think, like, where it sort of maybe falls apart for a lot of people is, like, they should have kept it, like, more ambiguous to being, like, is it aliens or is it some sort of, like, ancient god? Because, like, it's very blatant from the beginning. It's like, it's aliens.
Well, I mean, I don't care that it's blatant, but skipping ahead to the end, I didn't need to see a UFO.
That's true.
I like the idea of it just being a skeleton and, like, it's like, this is a person from out there. Holy crap. Like, I didn't need to see the ship.
Yeah.
I get why they did it. I don't really think I needed to see it, but going back to the beginning, when Indiana Jones makes his big escape after his friend Mac betrays him because he's a greedy, slimy bastard.
Yeah.
That's a fun escape. I love the part where he swings, but he goes backwards, and he's like, oh, shit. Like, that's classic Indiana Jones shit right there.
Yeah. I like a lot of it at the beginning too. Like, I even though I know it's like so unrealistic, but like I like that he's in the like nuclear testing like village and then all of a sudden realizes what's going on and he empties out the refrigerator and survives the nuclear blast in the fridge. It's ridiculous but hilarious at the same time.
Man, people lost their fucking minds about that scene.
They had a little note that said it was lead lined. It's okay. But
look, I don't have a problem with it. He fell out of a plane in a life raft and hit a mountain and was fine.
yeah.
Whatever.
I think it's
there's no reality in this franchise.
Yeah, I think it's pretty funny. Like after that, like he gets out of the freezer, refrigerator. You see the mushroom cloud, and then like the next scene is like he's being like scrubbed down by people in like hazmat suits with like Geiger counters.
Yeah,
and stuff.
You would need that.
Yeah,
I from what I understand, Lucas, he had that image of Indiana Jones in front of a mushroom cloud in his head. This idea of like this character from like the previous era of like the 40s and 30s or whatever, then just like juxtaposed on the atomic age.
yeah.
Like he just had that in his mind. He even got Drew Struzan to make a painting apparently.
It's a pretty cool image, honestly.
Yeah.
Kind of like horrifying though, but it is cool.
And I know a lot of people who like stick up for this movie kind of point out, it's like, yeah, the other ones were the 1930s movie serials, but this is taking cues from like 50s sci-fi B-movie kind of deal.
Yeah.
Or it's like almost a blending of the two.
Yeah, I get that. It's interesting. You know, a lot of the digital like backgrounds like in that warehouse are just like it's like like it looks so fake.
See, I didn't run up against the warehouse stuff. I did some of the jungle stuff.
Yeah, that too.
Just go back to the jungle.
Yeah, it's like go to the place and make it.
Just go to Hawaii.
But I guess with this movie though, like you brought up when we were just talking about it, like you know, in general, like it was like the style at the time, and
I mean, it was no different than any other movie
yeah,
of that time period, and even from now.
yeah.
And,
I guess technology is better now, so it's a little harder to tell. But like,
yeah, and also people bitch about it less, I guess.
yeah,
And I guess because it was a legacy series, it stuck out more. But hey, you know what? There's some compositioning in the old movies that aren't very good either.
yeah,
So it's the same thing. The technique is different. Both don't look as good as they could.
yeah. It's ridiculous though. Like this movie, he's fighting like these Russians, particularly this like Russian lady with like a sword for some reason.
Why not?
And
Fuck,
she
it's
wants,
Indiana Jones.
and,
Fuck it.
And it's like even more like sci-fi because like they want to find the alien because they want to like get like mind powers. I mean, the Russian lady tries to read Indiana Jones's mind. She's like, "You're very strong," and like it's like kind of like you're just full of shit, lady. You can't read people's minds.
Yeah, it's amazing for a guy who's seen so much crazy shit that he just never. It's like, no.
Yeah, it's like this is ridiculous. But it's interesting. You know, he's still the college professor, but because of you know this being at the height of like the Red Scare,
He loses his job.
yeah. Like, the one guy, like, you know, had to resign from his job just to, like, get him.
Replacement Marcus Brody because Marcus Brody's long since passed away.
Yeah.
We have that moment where we find out that he's gone, the dad is gone.
Yeah.
People were a little upset by that because I guess they really wanted Sean Connery to come back, but Connery was well retired at that point and nothing got him out of his retirement.
Yeah, pretty much.
He was like, I was in League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. Fuck movies forever.
I chose the wrong project. I could have been Gandalf.
I could have been Morpheus too.
Oh my goodness.
Or someone from The Matrix. He was, I think it might have been Morpheus, I'm not sure.
Okay.
But he was offered The Matrix. He's like, I don't understand this. Big hit.
Yeah.
Offered Lord of the Rings. I don't understand this. Big hit. Reads League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. I don't understand this. I'll do it.
Yeah.
Want, want.
Kind of weird.
Whoops.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. So we get, the Nazi guys looking for
Communist.
communists.
I understand it's Indiana
Russian,
Jones. It's
yeah.
Indiana Jones. Most people expect him to be fighting Nazis.
It's weird.
He'll have now done it in 3 out of 5 movies.
Yeah, I guess.
They found a way to bring him back for the new one.
Yeah.
So I think part of the reason why they're not in this one is one, the progression of time,
Yeah.
and also after making Schindler's List, Spielberg was like, I can't
Yeah.
do that shit anymore. I can't have fun watching Nazis get shot.
Yeah.
It's too real, man. It's too real.
Yeah. Like the escalation of the movie is, Indiana Jones gets fired. He's maybe going to go to London to be a professor, but then this young kid named Mutt finds him and has a letter for him from his mom and a guy named Ox that Indiana Jones knows. That was Ox in any other movies? Or so he's a completely new character to this. Okay, I was kind of wondering. I was racking my brain. I'm like, wait, I've seen all these movies now. Why don't I know who this character is?
This is a new character.
Yeah.
It happens sometimes.
Yeah. That pretty much you find out this guy Ox is involved in finding whatever the Russians are looking for, which is pretty much like a crystal skull.
Yep.
So I don't know if they say crystal skull immediately, but they talk about the Nazca lions in South America, like you mentioned, and
Yeah.
all that stuff. So Indiana Jones figures it out pretty fast because he's a smart guy.
Well, I think the crystal skull does come up at some point early on. They talked about one of the real ones, which are, by the way, someone just made them in the 1800s. They're not ancient Mayan relics or anything like that.
Yeah, there's a couple of them out there that they're these couldn't have been made at this time.
They've been dated to 1890-ish.
Yeah.
Where was this made? Probably London.
I thought at least one of them was from that time period, but
As far as I know, it's all just
I thought the one that looks like crap is the one from that time period, but then the one that's super nice is clearly
as based on what I've seen recently. It's all just no,
okay.
none of that shit.
Oh well.
Look, I'm sure there's some ancient aliens people who are like, no, man, this one's the real one.
Well, you see, it wasn't aliens; it was time travelers.
Time traveling aliens.
Oh man, I mean, I guess we got a bit of that in this, sort of.
Maybe.
Well, we'll get into it.
That was weird. I don't like that part.
But I guess, what do you think of Mutt?
This is a tough one. Because on one hand, it's actually a fine performance.
Yeah.
On the other hand, at the time, and to this day, I don't like Shia LaBeouf. I didn't like him because he was annoying in Transformers back then. And I don't like him now because he's an asshole.
That's a good point. I mean, sometimes, actors' behavior outside of their job kind of affects the way you view them, and it could be very much the case with Shia LaBeouf. He does not annoy me as much as he used to, but definitely it is
It was one of those things I don't mind this character. The performance is fine. I wish he was played by somebody else.
Yeah.
I don't know who he could have been played with, but I don't know.
The idea is pretty good. He's a greaser, makes sense for 1950s.
And, he's running around in his own leather jacket,
Yeah.
kind of hinting at he's the son of Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
And the fact that he's calling himself Mutt is also a clue.
Oh, yeah.
Because Indiana Jones named himself after his dog, and he names himself Mutt, which is a dog.
Yeah. That's a good point. I didn't realize that.
Blindingly obvious.
Yeah, yeah. But I think it's kind of interesting at the beginning where, like, you know, Indy and Mutt are talking, and then, like, you know, Mutt's all like, yeah, I dropped out of school and stuff, and then, like, he's just like, and Indiana Jones like, oh, like, what do you do then? And he's like, I repair motorcycles, and he's like, you gonna do that all your life? And he's just like, yeah, you got a problem with that? And Indiana Jones is like, no, if it makes you happy, then do it. And I'm like, hey, that's a pretty good, like, thing for Indiana Jones to do. And then when he finds out he's his son, he's like, what do you mean you quit school?
You're going back to school.
Yeah.
It's like, but you said before. It's like, I wasn't your dad before.
Yeah, it's kind of funny how it, like, switches where, like, he's just like, yeah, okay, like, he's being pretty cool and chilled out to this kid.
Yeah, it's like, he's not his kid. He doesn't care.
Yeah, but then as soon as he finds out it's his son, it's just like, what did you... It's like, you're getting back to school.
It's like a switch flips in his head. It's like, yeah, go to your room.
Yeah, it's kind of, like, he doesn't know Mutt's his son, like, even, like, when Mutt, like, says, like, you know, they're trying to save his mom's name, Marion Williams, and he just, like, doesn't even, like, get it at first.
Doesn't put two and two together that he knows a Marion.
Yeah, because I guess she got married to a different guy. Like,
yeah. Hence the different last name. But come on, the first name should have been a clue.
Yeah, seriously, because it's just like, your mom knows me? And Indiana Jones, being the player he is, he's like, I know a lot of Merriams. He's like, it's a very common name. Just like, oh, Indy.
Indy.
You bad man.
How many of them died?
Yeah. But, you know, we get the classic of them going across the world with, like, the map and everything.
Of course.
You know, it's kind of fun with the motorcycle being on the plane just because, and Indiana Jones putting his hat, like, you know, above his head while he takes a nap. It's an old man nap. It takes about a couple of them now.
I'm sure.
It's kind of funny that, like, there's one point where, like, Mutt says to, like, Indy, like, what are you, 80? And I'm like, not in this movie. But,
that's the next one.
Yeah.
That is weird. I caught that too.
Yeah.
I'm like, what are the freaking odds he would say 80?
Yeah.
It's bizarre.
But I guess we'll just go through, like, moments. You know, they go through, like, the South American jungle. They find, like, Ox, and he's all, like, crazy because he looked into the eyes of the crystal skull. And it's kind of ridiculous. But one of the things I was thinking of that I really like in the movie, and maybe this is jumping around a bit, is when they're trying to escape from the Russian camp that they get captured in after they find the crystal skull. And they go into, like, this, like, quicksand. Like, it's not quicksand, it's, like, something else that, like, Indiana Jones starts explaining. And, like, Miriam's just like, shut up, it doesn't matter.
Would you stop being a teacher for once?
Yeah. But there's the part where, like, Mutt throws him the snake. And he's just like, grab on it. He's just like, don't say snake.
Maybe I can reach the bottom.
Yeah. It's just like, just say rope. That was pretty funny.
Yeah.
It's like his hatred for snakes.
It's not getting over it at this point.
Yeah.
A little earlier than that, when Indy and Mutt are at that, like, temple, when right before they find, like, the conquistador grave, there's, like, the weird people that are either just there or guarding it. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know what the deal is with them.
But, like, when Indy's like, you stay here, and he, like, disappears, and then he pops up and he blows the blow dart into the guy's mouth and he drops dead, and Indiana Jones just whips out a gun to scare the other one off, and Mutt's just like, you're a teacher?
Yeah. It's a pretty good moment, too.
And he's just like, part-time.
Yeah. I do like him blowing the blow dart into the guy's throat. It's,
Yeah.
like, kind of crazy. It's like, damn, Indy. You always forget that Indiana Jones is a stone-cold killer.
He don't give a fuck.
He's the John Wick of his day.
He'll punch a man into a pile of ants. He doesn't care.
Yeah. Oh, man. That jungle scene is, like, so over the top, I think, because you get the convoy of, like, the trucks with the special, like, truck cutting up the rainforest.
Yeah.
Which is, like...
The giant buzzsaws that go flying at one point.
Yeah.
So ridiculous.
Which is ridiculous. You get Mutt and the Russian lady, which I do not remember her name, having the sword fight between the two cars.
Let's see, Russian spy lady. Let's just go with Natasha.
That's a pretty good guess.
There's a few Russian spies named Natasha.
Yeah. So they have the sword fight on the two like cars moving back and forth.
She should have just been like, go further that way, and like have him just like fall and get crushed by one of the wheels.
Yeah, and it's not only like just like them swinging swords. It's like a proper like fencing fight where like Miriam's telling her son like, remember like
Something
your
about-
stance and repose and stuff like that.
And he's like, it's not a match. What are you? Shut up.
Yeah, and the Russian lady is all like proper with the sword, and then that escalates into like the cars like all crashing into each other to the buzzsaw like you mentioned. And then that escalates into like Mutt being knocked off of the one car that Indiana Jones is driving to him swinging through the woods with like a bunch of monkeys.
That was a part when in the theater I was just like, this part's stupid.
And then that goes into a part where he leads the monkeys to attack the Russians for them to crash into a bunch of giant anthills with like ants like this freaking big. And then they're man-eating ants.
Indiana Jones at the same time has his designated fight with a giant guy because he has to have one. It's gonna be really awkward in the next movie when that giant guy kills him.
Oh man.
But the ants start eating people,
Yeah. It's just like, what the hell is happening in this movie?
and then that leads to the water.
Yeah.
They drive off a fucking cliff.
And not only do they go over one waterfall, they go over 3 waterfalls. And then they finally find the temple. But holy shit. Like I said, this movie is drenched in special effects. Like the monkeys, it's just like swinging on the vines with monkeys. It's like, wow. And then all the ants. It's like, holy crap, man. It's like, damn, like this movie was like trying to show off or something.
I have to tell you, man.
Yeah. Man, and those ants too, like not only they're like huge, there's a part where like the ants are like making a tower of ants to get to the Russian lady, and one starts crawling on the Russian lady and then she smashes it in between her knees.
Yeah?
And I was like, holy shit.
When the big guy falls in the ants and they just like carry him into their anthill,
Yeah,
that's fucked up.
it is fucked up. It's horrifying.
Yeah. Like they poured into his mouth too.
Yeah.
Jeez.
I was like, oh, there's that like face melting off violence that I was waiting for. The ants eating people. I'm like, damn. I'm like, I don't know if they have ants like that in Central America. I don't think I want to find out though.
Definitely not.
Yeah.
At least not the hard way.
Yeah.
Maybe the Google way.
Yeah. It's like man eating ants. Oh no.
Ah, why? Why is that a thing?
It's like Earth Defense Force Israel. But yeah, that's kind of like the big action scene, honestly. And it's so absolutely ridiculous that like the escalation is one thing, but like it's like the nature of the escalation is just like so over the top. But yeah, there's also like that weird part with like the character of Mac, who like betrayed Indiana Jones at the beginning of the movie.
For money.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden it's just like, I'm CIA, I'm a double agent. And then it's like, he's not.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, oh, okay.
And then Indiana Jones tries to save him, and he just dies anyway.
Yeah,
Because of greed.
yeah. I do like, before Max says, like, I'm a CIA agent, like, and he says to him, like, as soon as I get free, the first thing I'm going to do is punch you in the nose.
I'm going to break your nose.
Yeah. And he just slugs him.
It's like, you broke my nose.
Yeah.
Told you.
Yeah, it's weird because, like, there's, like, a history with Indy and him where they were both, like, I guess, like, in the war together and did missions together, but I guess at one point Mac, like, was just like, yeah, fuck this. Like, I'm getting paid.
And he even says, it's like, what can I say? I'm a capitalist, and they pay.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was greedy.
Yeah.
He just wanted money.
Yeah, he's kind of scumbag.
Absolutely. And he should have saw it coming.
Yeah. Yeah. But, what else? I guess do we talk about the alien temple?
I guess.
Is there anything else before the alien temple worth mentioning?
I mean, they go through the steps to get to the alien temple. We see, I don't know.
Just that door.
They get chased by native guards that are scared of the skull, which also scares the ants, apparently.
Yeah, that's right. The ants respect the skull for some reason.
Maybe it's the magnetic energy. They're like, ugh, that feels weird. Let's go this way.
That magnetic energy is like kind of inconsistent.
Yeah, probably.
Because like sometimes it's like strong enough to like pull like coins and stuff like on the ground, but then like it seems like it takes like no effort to take something off of it when it's like stuck to it.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, what is up with this?
Magnets. How do they work?
There's like the weird scene where like Indiana Jones like has to like mind meld with the skull in order to talk to the ox guy.
And he's just like, we have to put it back. It's like, why? It asked me. It's like, what?
It's like, okay, that's odd.
Yeah, they get to the temple. There's all sorts of artifacts from all across the world because these aliens they just were collectors.
Yeah.
Indy calls them archaeologists. I think they're just nerds.
Maybe. It goes to like my biggest peeve with the ancient alien theory where it's like people didn't build that shit, like aliens helped us. It's just like, that's stupid. I like it better when we figured that shit out. Like,
people don't give people enough credit.
Yeah.
Ancient world was smarter and better than most people I think.
Yeah. It's like that kind of like diminishes our accomplishments if like E.T. was just like, this is how you do it.
I'm just saying, if ancient Rome could have plumbing, I think ancient Egypt can move some rocks.
Yeah, seriously. But, yeah, it's weird because, like, they say, like, oh, the aliens taught them, like, how to farm and, like, all this stuff. And I'm like, oh, no, I don't like that. That's dumb.
It is dumb. That's why it makes no fucking sense.
Yeah. But, we get to the temple. There's, like, a bunch of Crystal Skull aliens in there. It's weird that the Russian lady like knows that the aliens were like a hive mind for some reason, and I'm like, how does she know that?
Maybe Ox's research? I don't know.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I guess Ox like wrote a lot of shit on the walls in like the prison cell or whatever he was in Peru. Ox even says like, oh, they're not. Because, like, Mutt says, like, oh, they're, like, starmen, and he's just like, they're interdimensional aliens. And I'm like, that's an extra complicated layer to this for some reason.
Yeah, that was weird and unnecessary.
Yeah. It's like, they're not just regular aliens, they're interdimensional aliens.
Can't they just be from space?
Yeah.
Why'd you have to make it so bloody freaking complicated?
It's weird.
And, the thing that happens in most of the Indiana Jones movies, except for Temple of Doom. The bad guy seemingly gets what they want and then just as a result.
Yeah, she's like, I want all the knowledge, and the aliens are like, okay.
Here you go, bitch.
I could have been fine with the aliens just being the crystal skeletons. But, like, then they all fuse together and become, like, your stereotypical, like, gray alien creature.
Yeah, that's why I stand there. I think it would have been better that if we just didn't see them.
Yeah.
That's why I think showing the ship was too much.
Yeah.
If like the skulls glue and then she was like, and then like things kind of like collapsed in on itself and like you weren't really sure what happened maybe. Yeah. I don't know.
Maybe you just see like a flash of light and everything kind of like disappears or something.
I think just seeing the flying saucer just always felt like just a little too much.
Yeah. It's...
Even though it's like there's fucking aliens, so it's a weird nitpick to have. It's like there's already aliens.
Yeah, but it's like weird because it's like it's a flying saucer, but then it like goes through like a portal or something, and it's just like, oh, what?
I don't know. It's just another 1950s B movie type shit. I don't know.
Yeah, it's an odd choice, for sure.
And then Indy and Marion get married.
Yeah, that's a nice scene.
Yeah, I wish Sala was there.
Yeah.
Maybe Shorty too. That'd have been nice.
I know we're gonna see Saul in the new movie.
Yeah.
And I was like, hell yeah.
He'll be back for probably one scene.
Yeah, probably, but...
And then, judging by what Lucasfilm does in their legacy movies, he'll die horribly.
No. I swear to God, if they kill Solo, it might be like, I'm done.
I'm just saying, even though I like some of the Star Wars TV shows, I can't get out of my brain. It's like, you made those movies to conclude the story of the Skywalker saga, and you dropped the ball that bad, and now you're doing the last Indiana Jones adventure. How am I supposed to trust you?
That's a good point.
The one thing it has going for it, I like the director.
Yeah.
James Mangold freaking made Logan.
Yeah.
That gives me some hope.
Looks good from the little we've seen. Not entirely sure what the title means, Dial of Destiny, but
I think it's that weird thing we see, which I think is an artifact that for like a long time they're like, we don't know what this does, but now I think they do know what it did. I forget what it's called though.
Oh, okay.
At least it's probably at least loosely based on it.
I wonder if it's that Greek thing I'm thinking of, but maybe not.
I don't know.
Yeah.
And then in the end, that was just speculation. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know what a Dial of Destiny does. Some people are thinking like, are they bringing in time travel to this series? Which,
oh God, I hope
don't.
Indiana Jones, it's just like, I'm you from the future
Oh, good
of
Lord.
1975.
Yeah, I think it takes place in '69
Okay.
because it's set.
It's like 10 years after this movie, then, more or less. You said this one was 57,
Yeah.
so 69.
It's like 12 years later.
Okay. I guess that's about how long it's been since this
Almost,
movie.
roughly, you know.
Yeah.
You know, one of the last things that happens in Crystal Skull is like after Indy and Marion get married, the wind blows and the hat falls in front of Mutt, and he picks it up. And just as I think I was going to yell at the movie screen in a movie theater, Shia LaBeouf putting on Indiana Jones' hat, Indiana Jones is like, that's mine.
There's some guy handing out tomatoes just in case that everything was okay.
Like there was some weird speculation. There was a speculation at the time where it's like, are they setting up Shia LaBeouf to take over this series? I don't know if there was ever any truth to that. I honestly thought when this movie came out that, are we gonna get like a new trilogy of Indiana Jones movies, like boom, 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 like we did with the Star Wars prequels? Nope.
Yeah.
Took over 12, 13 years just to get to Indiana Jones 5.
Yeah. Although, I don't know when talk of Indiana Jones 5 really began, because like you said, they made Indiana Jones 4, and then there was talk of they're gonna do Indiana Jones 5, but then it didn't really happen until Disney bought Lucasfilm, and then they're like, no, we are doing Indiana Jones 5, and it's gonna be epic and awesome.
We had a promise in Harrison Ford probably to get him to be Han Solo.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I think maybe the backlash to the prequels and the backlash to this, George Lucas is like, I don't want to do this anymore.
Yeah. It's like, I'm done. It's like fuck you, fans. But yeah, I do wonder, do you think Harrison Ford had his caveat of I'll come back to Star Wars if you kill my character. I'll come back to Indiana Jones if you kill my character.
I'll just say this.
Okay.
They shouldn't kill Indiana Jones.
I don't think they should either.
Indiana Jones is not a character you kill. He's a character you ride off into the sunset.
Yeah.
Like they did.
Yeah.
And even in Crystal Skull, he's walking off into the sunset. He's married. He's got a family now.
Yeah. Yeah, he's gonna get his son to try to get his GED and turn his life around.
He's got shit to do now.
His son's probably on the reefer. He's gonna have to probably fix that
Jeez.
because it's the 50s.
Reefer madness.
Stop combing your hair all the time. Why'd you dip your comb in the soda?
That's weird.
It is weird.
Why do you do that?
I don't know.
His hair's got sugar in it now.
Yeah.
Yeah, bugs in that.
I mean, if you think about it, it's like he dipped his comb in the soda, then went to South America, and then those ants came out because of him having soda in his hair.
That's not why the ants came out.
I'm just saying that might be why the ants came out.
I mean, look, there's some circumstantial evidence. I'll give you that.
Yeah. So weird.
Oh, man.
But yeah. I don't know. Overall, I think it's weird. It's the only Indiana Jones movie I've seen on the big screen.
It's the only one I was able to.
Yeah. At the time, I was like, yeah, it was okay. And I'm still like, yeah, it's okay. Like, never like blatantly like hated this movie like some people I know. But like, you know, like I said, the special effects. This movie is drenched in special
I
effects.
feel like I don't have as much of a problem with the special effects. People fixate on some like weird stuff like the gophers. I'm like,
yeah.
those gophers are on screen for like 4 seconds. I never even remember them being in the movie. But all I hear about the fucking CGI gopher in Indiana Jones. I'm like, fuck, what? And then I watch the movie. I'm like, oh yeah, fucking gopher. And I'm fucking. Is it just because I'm not weird and crazy?
I don't know. You know what I thought about the gophers? I was just like, do those gophers look better or the same as the ones from Caddyshack?
I mean, they both look fake as fuck, don't they?
They do. But the one from Caddyshack dances, though.
I'll give that. It does dance.
Yeah. That's like the first thing I thought. Like at first, because like it's at the very beginning of the movie, and then the gopher comes out of the hole, out of the Paramount logo, and I was like, oh shit, did I turn on the wrong movie? And then I was like, oh wait, yeah, this is Indiana
man.
Jones.
There must be an edit out there somewhere where the gopher pops out, the Caddyshack song starts playing.
Starts dancing. It's just like, yeah, that Indiana Jones Crystal Skull Caddyshack cut is pretty epic.
Hey everybody, we're all gonna get laid. Da, 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 da.
Then those aliens show up.
Oh my god. You know, it occurs to me, because you brought up the Paramount logo, Part 5 is gonna be the only one without it. So they're not gonna do that opening with where they transition into a mountain thing that looks like the Paramount logo.
They're gonna do the Disney castle, and then it's gonna transfer into like a regular castle.
I don't know, because they didn't put the Disney castle in front of any Star Wars shit, so why would they put it in front of Indiana Jones?
Because they want us to know.
Well, no, because they don't want people to know. They're afraid. They were afraid of putting the Disney logo in front of Marvel movies, and they were afraid of putting them in front of Star Wars movies. Why should Indiana Jones be any different?
Hey, maybe they'll just pay for the Paramount logo again, like they did with those other Marvel movies.
I doubt it.
You never know.
You know what they might do? They might just open up on like a weird mountain thing, and be like, right? Because the Paramount logo might have been there, but it's
Yeah.
not, because we sold to Disney. Because fuck Paramount.
Oh man.
I mean, that's kind of how it feels.
Yeah, a little bit.
Hey, Paramount, fuck you, we stole Indiana Jones. Hey, Fox, fuck you, we stole Star Wars. But also, fuck you, we're buying you.
They did buy them. Yeah. Well, anyway, I guess that's Out of Touch podcast for this week. One day I'll figure out how to end these episodes a correct way.
I wish that was true.